session.
We're back with Blade's Banner after a big win against Washington. We're going to dive right into it, get into the Big Ten standings, where we fit, how we can squeak our way back into Big Ten contention, the CFP, and then we're gonna break down and talk about this Michigan State game rivalry that you can throw out the records. And you're going to have to come to play. I'm excited. I'm excited for this weekend. 7:30 kickoff. Toe meets leather. It's going to be a night game, and the boys are coming off a big win. Coach, I mean, how do you see this week? Talk about the Big Ten. I'm fired up just thinking about
the Big Ten for a minute before I say anything. We're going to get Michigan State's very best shot, very best effort, and they will be difficult to beat in East Lansing on Saturday night. So it'll be a big challenge for us. One that I think we will be ready for. But now here's what I want you to, when we look at the conference, clearly, well, there's two teams on top, the undefeated Indiana and Ohio State teams, 1 and 2 in the nation by most accounts. And then, of course, Oregon lost to Indiana, and they are 6 and 1. So Ohio State, and not that it was ever in doubt, and Indiana are now going to a bowl for sure. But along with Oregon with 6 wins, and all three of those teams are hoping for the CFP. Now, I should mention that 10 teams in the SEC are ranked in the top 20, and only 5 Big Ten teams right now. So the deal was that the Big Ten and the SEC are going to get 7 teams in the CFP. One league would get 4, and one league would get 3. Indiana and strength of schedule for Indiana and Ohio State is not. They're not. 40. Ohio State has the 45th toughest schedule in the country. Indiana 51 right now. Michigan's 43. Now, Michigan State's had some tough opponents. They're 18. They're the 18th toughest, and we'll look at them. So that's something to keep in mind. And then the other thing to keep in mind. We have some really dangerous teams out here. Here's what I mean by dangerous. So we have several teams. Kurt Ferentz is doing a wonderful job at Iowa. They're 5 and 2. Michigan is 5 and 2 with 1 loss, 3-1, both 3-1 in the conference. Minnesota's 3-1 in the conference, 5 and 2 with their victory. Northwestern, remarkably, is 5 and 2. Now, all these teams, if they get a victory, will be a bowl eligible. And they're Northwestern 3-1 in the conference. UCLA, 3-1 in the conference, but they are 3 and 4 overall. I consider them a very dangerous team. Now, I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Then SC's 5 and 2. They're 3 and 1. Then we go to Illinois, a very fine team that's 2 and 2, and 5 and 2. Nebraska 2 and 2 and 5 and 2. And then with Washington 2 and 2 and 5 and 2. But here are the teams that I think are really dangerous because they all have capable quarterbacks and good coaches. The dangerous teams right now, and they will be heard from, are Pennsylvania State. If they have 3 wins, they'll go to a bowl game. And and on their schedule is Indiana and Ohio State. There'll be an impact there. You watch. Because they've been maligned. They lost their coach. I don't know if players are going to the portal or not, but you watch. That's too fine a program. Too many good players. Their quarterback got hurt, but the young quarterback who's behind them, I think will show that he's a fine player, and there's good running backs there. So they're a dangerous team. Michigan State, if they get 3 wins, they will go to a bowl game, and that is their ambition, that is their goal, and we stand in the way of that, and they have a talented, gifted quarterback. I respect him, and I respect that coach. What everybody wants to say about Smith, forget it. He came into a very difficult situation. Tucker left that place and not in good. It was not a good situation. Things were in disarray there. Kids went to the portal. He's only a year and a half in, and he's a fine coach and a really great offensive mind. So now UCLA plays Indiana at Indiana. UCLA is a capable team. They need 3 wins to get to a bowl game. And then Maryland only needs 2. Those are teams that have they have reason to play. And these are proud institutions and teams and players and those guys. So that's what we got going on in the league. This is a long way from over. People are talking like, Indiana and Ohio State are demonstrating they're far and away the best. The kid at Ohio State is completing 80% of his passes. They're giving up less than a touchdown. That defense has been sensational. That defense is the best in the country, but the strength of schedule has not been good. That's why some people are saying Alabama should be ranked ahead of them. So we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen because they got Penn State out there. I'm telling you, they have 3 losses. They lost their coach. They're in disarray. They're maligned. People are down on them. Those kids are going to stand up. You watch. They're going to rise up. And then Michigan State, I've been in this rivalry. I do not take it for granted. Not at all. And they've had some difficulties there. And I'm telling you, those people are proud up there, and they're tough. And we're going to have a very tough physical game up there. And we're going to have to be at our best to get out of there. This is one of the great rivalries in the country. Make no mistake about it. And UCLA, with that quarterback, they could maybe beat anybody. And they got a gifted offensive coordinator there, the young Neuheisel. And then Maryland, that's a young, gifted quarterback. And I don't discount them. So, and they all have something to play for. So that's where we are right now. Now, a lot of those teams are out of the picture in the league, because they have 4 losses in the league. Michigan State, Penn State, Purdue, Rutgers, and Wisconsin all have 4 losses. But there's some teams there that I consider dangerous on the basis of the personnel they have, on the basis of who they are, what they have been historically, and knowing what it's like in the Big Ten, where you always get an underdog rise up that beats a favorite, particularly down the stretch. And the big challenge for the favorites and the better teams in the country is to come be motivated, highly motivated, and be at your best the rest of the way. And Michigan's in a position where we have to win every game. But we cannot, like Coach Moore said, we cannot look down the line. We have to look at who's in front of us. And we got to win the first series. We got to get the first down, get the first stop, win the first quarter and second quarter and along the way, and put the game away. And only by being disciplined and giving great effort through all 4th quarters will we succeed. But we're in the stretch drive here. And, we have 2 losses and we can get to where we want to go. It will not be easy. It will not be easy. But we have, I think, the talent to do it. And we're getting better. We're a young team. And we responded. I like the way they responded. They got punched in the face and they got beat badly out on the West Coast and really embarrassed. But they sat down and they went to work. And Coach Moore went to work and got after his staff, and the staff responded. So that's where we are in the conference. Boy, there's a lot going on there when I look at it. I talk about dangerous teams. Those teams, some of them with 2 losses in the league, but all those teams only need 3 wins to get to a bowl game. And that's a lot to play for these kids. And they have pride, and there's talent. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting. This thing is not over, not by a long shot. And Michigan certainly is not out of the picture. And we will be in the picture. Mark my words.
Yeah, Coach, it's exciting right now in the Big Ten. I love having the new teams in our, UCLA, USC, how it all shakes it up. And just to see how I love UCLA, the way they're playing 3-1 in the league.
Hey, who says they're not going to go in there and beat Indiana? I'm telling you, is gifted. Now, Indiana's very physical. So they're not coming. It's not going to be a pushing contest. And so if UCLA thinks it's going to be a pushing contest, they will get beat. But if they come in there and they play physically with that quarterback and the receivers and a creative, gifted offensive coordinator, let's see what happens. Now, Indiana's got one of the best offenses in the country. Ohio State's got the best defense in the country, without question, right now statistically. And they are undefeated teams. But they got a way to go yet. They're going to have to play some. They have some difficult challenges ahead of them. But I don't worry too much about them. I worry about Michigan. And we'll add this, Robbie. The one thing I don't like now is the conferences have expanded. Is we don't all play each other.
Yeah.
Indiana's not going to play us or Ohio State they actually have a very nice schedule left. They have UCLA at home, then they got Maryland, and then they got Penn State. So, on paper, they should beat all those. But they got a couple teams there. They got 3 teams there that I call dangerous because of who their quarterback is and where they are in the position that they find themselves.
Well, I was just going to say, Penn State has lost. They're your first dangerous team is Penn State. They've lost 4 in a row. This is a team that thought they were a number one team in the country. Now
They thought they were going
they're
to win it
they're
all.
they're down, but they got Ohio State, Indiana, and Michigan State and Nebraska. They're gonna come. They're gonna bring it. They're
They're
gonna try
not
to.
going to quit.
They're
They're
not.
not going to quit.
They want to ruin somebody's season, coach, and they just went. They're not going to lose another four. There's no way they lose
They
eight
have those
games this
gifted
season.
running backs. They got running back there, and they got big time players. They're. I'm telling you, they just have fallen on hard times. They had some tough losses. They lost
Notre
that
Dame
one
and
game.
Northwestern and UCLA was tough.
Northwestern UCLA, they fell apart. After they lost that tough game to Oregon, which was we watched. You remember how that one safety, that number 6, I don't know his name. He's I mean, that kid is. They rave about the safety, who is a great player at Ohio State, Caleb. But that kid is wow. He's
Yeah.
he's a wonderful defensive player. So
Yep.
there's talent. There's talent there, and you watch. They will rise up, and they're going to give somebody. They're going to give somebody a real tough way to go. And when you get into those situations, and the other team's up, and they're underdogs, and they get momentum, they start to believe, and they start to get confidence. It gets damn hard to get out of those games and win. I've been in there. I've been in around the Big Ten and experienced that. Not too much at home, but away. But it has happened at home before, where some team came in that wasn't as good as we were probably, but they gave us just a tremendous effort and a great game, and the ball sometimes fell their way, and we didn't come out victorious. So it's going to be interesting. I think the fans ought to be keenly interested in what's going on. I list those teams as dangerous. And I'm going to tell you who else is dangerous: the University of Michigan. I'm telling you, there's good players at the University of Michigan right now. We have a young coach who's learning on the job, but learning fast. And he's proven that he can win big games. And I don't want to hear the criticism of him. I want to stand. I'm telling you, I'm behind him. I like him personally, and I believe in him. And
Yep.
he's along the way. You're a young guy. The only way to get experience, there's only one way to gain the big X. That's by doing it. And so he had never been a head coach. You can Google him, just like Coach Signetti. Google him. Google me, Signetti, who's a
Yeah, he
winner.
wins big
There's
games.
no question he's a winner. I'll
Yeah.
give him that now. And but I think that Michigan has the talent, and we're coming. This Marsh kid can be a big time receiver. He can make big plays. Justice Haynes is a great back, and so is Marshall. The quarterback the quarterback started as 18. He was 18 years old in like 2 weeks after when he started. Now he's 18 in 3 months, so he's not that old, but he has several starts under his belts, a lot of snaps and a lot of reps. So he's getting to the point where he's almost like he has more experience than most sophomores. So, and I like him, and he's a good learner. He doesn't make bad mistakes, doesn't make bad choices, and he's tough to defend. And we just have to run them inside the 20 like that. Right now, the good teams have quarterbacks that can run inside the 20, and because it's hard to account for the quarterback inside the red zone. So, the Big Ten, boy, we're coming down their stretch, and there's a lot of good teams out there, a lot of great quarterbacks. And I've said this all the way through this season. When all things equal, and everybody else on the team is playing hard, but you get a really great quarterback performance, you are hard to beat. And there's kids, the kid at UCLA, the kid at Nebraska, the kid at Michigan State. Man, he's a man. They're all men. Man, those guys are good quarterbacks, and they're not going to be easy to contain and beat. And if they get hot on you, watch out. The guy at Michigan State has three wonderful receivers. He's got a tight end who's going to play pro football, and so it's going to be fun. It's fun down the stretch. Michigan has every game's going to be a challenge. Our challenge is to win out, but forget about winning out. Right now, we got to win the state of Michigan. We got to become the champions of the state of Michigan. The state divides up loyalties. And I have a lot of great friends that went to Michigan State, and I love them, but not on a Saturday night. I'm not going to be loving them. We're going to do everything we can to win and beat them. Then after the game, they'll be my friends again. But we're going into it clear-eyed, determined, and it's not easy to win up there in East Lansing. And they have a gifted coach. Everybody wants to get rid of him. They are crazy. I'm going to tell you, you get rid of these coaches, you know what happens? all the kids could go to the portal, so you're going to lose kids. That's what happened when they fired Tucker. And so he came in, he brought in some kids from Oregon State, but not enough to fill the voids. So he's building that. He's building that thing, and so he did not get. I'm telling you, it wasn't. It was pretty bare up there, but he's putting it together, and he's a great offensive mind and a good coach. And so you get disarray, then you'll have staff cohesion and all that stuff. It is way too early. Not that I am defending him. He's a good coach, and that people should look at that differently because when you just fire these guys, kids go to the portal on you, and then you lose a lot of your players. And we talked about how important depth is, and now there is no depth because the portal doesn't allow for depth. Because good second team players, if they're not going to play, are going to go get NIL money and go elsewhere. So sometimes when your key player gets injured, you end up getting a player who probably is not the same kind of second team player would have been in the past because he has the ability to leave programs with impunity, and the transfer rule allows them to become those kids become immediately eligible. So that's where we are in college football. But it's a lot of fun right now. Notre Dame's going to make a run at the CFP. I give them credit. And we love C.J. Carr, of course. We're always rooting for him. The Big 12 has a lot. Texas Tech, they got a lot of good teams out there. BYU, who knows who's going to come out of that? And they'll probably take 2 out of that league. They might have to. Houston and some of these teams have yet to be heard from. I mean, there's a lot of parity out there, and I'm telling you, the SEC right now is the strongest team the strongest conference in the country.
Georgia Bulldogs, coach. Did you see come back against Old Miss?
Yeah.
It was
they got that tough quarterback.
And I love
Miami lost to Louisville.
Well, the guy threw up. He was throwing up in double coverage. We talked about that. He didn't play.
Yeah, he did not play well. They had a bad performance, but give credit to Louisville. But who would have predicted that? A lot of people had them as the number 1 team in the country. Hey, they still could be. Ohio State won the national title with 2 losses last year, and that could very well happen again.
Bama broke it wide open against Tennessee too, Coach. They really they grinded.
Alabama's coming, man. Alabama's coming, and that quarterback's playing great. Vandy's in the top 20. They say that quarterback's the best college football player in the country. So there's a lot of great Ole Miss is out there. LSU is falling out of favor, but they could be back. They play hard and they got talent. So
what about Vanderbilt, Coach? 6-1, 4-0 with
Vanderbilt, Northwestern, 2 fine academic schools, and both those coaches. Now the Vandy coach is one of the hottest coaches in the country, but that kid, this young kid, I think he's from one of the Dakota schools. Boy, he's done a job at Northwestern. I mean, he's 5-2. What a wonderful job he's done with that team, and give him all the credit. And we get them down the way in Wrigley Field, but we can't worry about that. So there's a lot going on in the league, and so it used to be, Ohio State's going to play these teams, and that's not going to be a problem. They're going to go on skate till they get us. Not necessarily. Indiana's got a really strong team, so they could beat Maryland, UCLA. That'll be easy. PSU, Indiana has a tough way to go right now.
Yeah.
Now they get UCLA at home, but I'm telling you, those kids don't care. They play great. I mean, that UCLA is. I mean, they believe right now, so they have confidence. So, we talk about morale and the physical instead of physical force, one, the old Philly saying, and motivation and performance, how it, how important it is. And so they believe, UCLA believes, and they have confidence after a miserable start when they got killed by New Mexico. New Mexico beat them in the second game, the team that we beat in the first game.
Yeah.
So it's crazy out there. And it's almost like the NFL where anybody can beat anybody. And then, you get a few players nicked. You get a few guys that are out of your secondary that are key players. And the second team players are not what they used to be because I talked about the portal and they're not there or they're very inexperienced. And then, who knows? And then, we're going to go into a highly charged and emotional situation in Spartan Stadium. And, we beat them a few years in a row now, and it's hard to get up on them several years in a row because the rivalry is too intense. And Michigan State is a proud school and has a proud tradition, and they will play hard.
Coach, they're going to come out and try to punch us in the mouth. You better believe it. They'll run it. He'll get them under center and run I formation right at us. We got to.
Well, if we're going to start talking about them, let's do that.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I have now. I talk to the Michigan State people, and they get down on Aiden Carr, but I'm not. Boy, I think he's a kid. He came with the coach from Oregon State, and you can talk about this, Rob. They like to run the zone. They do the zone run. And they get cutbacks. And it's important for them that their back is who's been hurt and neck is back. He and Aiden Childs account for, I think they account for 70% of their rushing totals
Yep.
and 70% of their carries. So
Aiden
that's
has
who we
5
have to
touchdowns.
contain. And then they like to do, and I like bootlegs. They like to fake, and then they like to roll him out, and then they get the tight end into the flat, and then they get a guy coming across, Marsh or Kelly, really gifted receivers. He has great wide receivers. Great. I'm not talking average. I'm talking really great. Now, Marsh has not
You
been
think
what he
these guys
was
are
last year
Sunday
because
players?
he's at an ankle, but he's back now. He's back. He's healthy. And that tight end is going to be a pro football player. So, and when you get him out in space, he's a threat to run, and he can throw the ball, man. I mean, he can heave it. He's got an arm on him. So I just think he's one of those guys that, I always felt that way about Travion Henderson. I scared of him. He scared me. Every time he got the ball, the Ohio State back, he could go the distance. And then the kid that came in with now playing so well for the Browns, he was equally as frightening. Like it's like the Smith kid. These guys are great players. So Aiden Childs, he can beat you. He can
Yeah.
put a team on his back and beat you. That's how talented he is. And they have a coach that'll come up with a good plan offensively. Smith is really a fine offensive mind, and they're going to be tough. Now, they have not played good defense, and that's where they've had difficulty.
What are they giving up? 33 games?
We're starting to play great defense after the USC debacle. When you give up 40 yards, and if we could shut them down like that, where they only have 4-yard rushing, and then we make Aiden Childs, we force him to pass and beat us passing, and we know what he's going to do. And now Barnum and Moore are going to have to run him down, man, because that guy can run. And he gets out in space, he's hard to handle out there, and he can turn his shoulders and throw the ball 50 yards downfield and hit a big play with these receivers that are breaking to the open area once he starts to scramble and some of the defensive players start to react to the run. So, they did not play poorly against Indiana. And Signetti said that. He said Michigan State really played well for us at the beginning. We were able to outlast them, but they did well. So I do not now, and they're going to they'll come together defensively, and they'll play great against us. So there's some things I think we have to do to beat them.
I hope we play some more cover 3 and get more people in the box.
Well, if we can, that'd be good. If our linebackers continue to play at the level they're playing.
Well, our linebackers saved us a lot. We do a lot of 2 fire where we have 2 high and then we send a guy. We have 4 underneath. We can't cover. They got 5 people. They release a back, and we play 2 high. We're playing a lot of cover 2, and then we send a guy. Then we have 4 to cover their 5s, and it creates problems. So our backers play good.
We have to have is a defensive player. It's situational awareness. Know where we are in the field, lateral, horizontal, field position, a right hash, left hash, right-handed quarterback, and their side of the field, our side of the field. What do they have to lose? They're going to go for it on 4th down a lot. You watch.
Yep.
They're throwing caution to the wind. We're going to see trick plays. They're going to throw everything they can at us. They are maligned. They're being criticized in their hometown. They're writing bad things about all of them. Oh, they're not worth a damn. The coach is terrible. Let's get rid of him. This is a fine coach to have. They're making a mistake, criticizing him. He's not. Give him a chance. He came into a situation. I mean, Tucker left that place. It was crazy there. There was a chaos.
A good coach, and a good quarterback, coach. They can show up on a Saturday.
Yeah, I'm telling you, at Oregon State, he beat some big teams. Now, here's what I think we have to do. We have to out-physical Michigan State.
Yeah.
We have to be tougher. We have to hit harder. we have to outrun them. We have to play faster than them. Now, part of that is going to be taking Aiden Childs and running him down when he escapes the box, when he starts to scramble, and getting some sacks against him. I always talk about giving him a bad play on first down, but also we got to win third down. That means we got to have a high percentage. We got to be successful, a high percentage of our third down situations, and we got to stop them. High percentage of stops when they have third down. So we got to win third down. Right now, our third down efficiency is over 40%, which is not bad. We get better. They're only 35% successfully on third down their offense, and we got to keep them down there. We can't let them out on third down. We got to force punts. Now, defensively, we're 38%. Teams have been successful on us third down 38% of the time. And I'd like to have that down in the low 30s. Their defense has not been good. They have given up first downs on third down 46% of the time. And when you're up over 40 and you get close to 50 there, that's not a very good defense. So they haven't played well. They've been nicked back there. They've had some guys hurt in the back. And people have moved the ball on them. But, Michigan is built for power. So we have to run the ball. We have to run with power. We have to do our power football. That means bringing Bredesen in the lead block, all the things we talked about. And we got to run downhill. Our offensive line, the most important thing for them is effort and discipline and move your feet. Stay on your block. I thought Frazier responded well. Big 77 when Link went down, and he's got to play a great game. We got to win the kicking game. Now, here's a frightening thing. Michigan State, now they've only returned 6 punts, but they've returned one for over 80 yards, and they've returned the other ones for almost 20 yards, 20-yard average. They're a 20-yard average on punt returns, so we cannot allow them to get any big kick punt returns on us. Here's what we are. Our punt return average, we've returned 10 of them, is 2.5. That's not good.
No.
That's not good. So we got to catch the ball, Shamaz, whoever they put back there, and we got to get positive yardage, and we cannot fumble, and don't turn it over on punt returns. We punted poorly against SC. We punted very well last week. So we're net 39-yard net punt. They're 38 net punt, but their punter kicks it a long way. He's averaging 51 yards to punt. Now, net punt is after the return, and people will return the ball about 12 yards on him. So we have to do that to negate his foot.
You know what the weather's going to be like?
No, and it doesn't matter. It does, but it doesn't matter. We're going to buckle up. I hope it'll be a beautiful, crisp.
For punt, for special teams, it matters.
Yeah, it matters. In handling the ball, it matters. So I didn't look at the weather report, and I could do that real quickly.
No, I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up.
And that would be critical. If it's windy and all those things matter, of course, when you're passing and kicking and all that stuff is part of the game. But also this game's going to be won on the LOS line of scrimmage. These games almost always are. This will be a slugfest because these guys want to beat us and we want to beat them. And now I respect them. And I told you I have a lot of friends that went to Michigan State, and they're my friends today. On Saturday night, they will not be for 4 hours. Then they'll be my friends after. So I want us to conduct ourselves correctly. I want us to conduct ourselves like Michigan people. We want to respect the opponent. We want to root like hell for our team and care about our team. But we don't want to be, we don't want any of this stuff. That's happened in the past. I don't want to win the debate. I want to win the game. I don't want to be little brother, big brother, arrogant asses. All that stuff I think means nothing. I guess it fuels the rivalry among the fans. If you're a player, none of that matters. You got to get on the field and execute, and you got to play hard. You're not thinking, oh my God, Darryl Rogers called us arrogant asses in 1975 or whatever the hell he did, or Mike Hart called them called them our little brother back 30 years ago. I don't know. That means nothing.
Well, we had Colston Loveland double down on it last year. It seems like
let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. I don't like that. Look, they're Michigan State University. They're a Big Ten team. We got to win, and we got to beat them, and they're our rival. and we do not want to lose to them. The state divides up loyalty. Brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers. They went to their respective schools, so they're divided families. So we got to get after them. I resent them. They voted against my team in 1973 and cost us. We didn't go to any bowl. We're at 10-0-1. 10-0-1. They had an archaic rule that only allowed one team to go to the Rose Bowl. The athletic director, the dean, the head of the Big Ten, orchestrated a vote by the athletic directors against us, and then Ohio State went out there and beat USC soundly, and then we were denied the right. A bunch of great guys, many of whom went on to play pro football, successful people, were denied the privilege and right to go to any bowl, and we changed it for all these other teams. We changed it. Now they're allowed to go. Now I remember that. So I'm telling our guys, remember during the course of the game, remember for me,
Coach,
and don't be afraid to hit them within the whistle. Hit them a little harder.
Bo
Hit them
made
a little
him
harder.
pray.
For the old 73 team.
Bo made him pay. The longest winning streak or losing streak for Michigan State is from 70 to 77. He beat them 7 or 8 years in a row, Coach, because of
I'm
that.
going to tell you what happened to Bo, though. Here's what happened to Bo. And Sharon Moore understands it, I think. So Bo's first year, Michigan State had started slowly after really being a dominant team of the 60s, one of the dominant teams of the 60s. With Duffy Doherty had great teams, tremendous teams, with Bubba Smith, all these tremendous players. And so Bo went in there, and Duffy changed his entire offense. We went into Michigan. We went up there to Michigan State. I was actually being recruited by Michigan State, and at that game as a guest.
Wow.
And they changed their offense and ran I formation, did all this, did a little counter out of the I and ran up and down the field on Michigan. We were ill prepared and beat Michigan. And when Bo was coming off the field, some people ran up to him and says, you will never beat Michigan State, and you will never, ever beat Michigan State in this stadium, ever. Well, they shouldn't have said anything to him because he said revenge is a great motivator, and but he also understood the rivalry, and he knew how important it was for us to be the champion of the state of Michigan and the best team in the state of Michigan. And we do it in basketball and baseball, everything we play against Michigan State. We want to beat them. They have one of the great basketball coaches in history up there. We have a fine young basketball coach. That's a heated rivalry. It's a heated rivalry, and we want to win, and they want to win. And if you don't go in there with determination, and if you're not the best, you're not going to beat the Spartans because they're going to give us their best punch. Count on it. Count on it. And so we have that young player up there on the team, young Chris Piawasik, who I love, who's back up on the team, but not Saturday night. I hope he's disappointed, but I want him to win all the other games.
One of my old water boys at Dexter High School is a tight end there. Brennan Parachek is Colin's little brother. He's a junior tight end there. He's a great player. So
we all know people. We all know friends and people that went to Michigan State, and it's a great rivalry. And we don't need to call each other names. Walmart, Wolverines. We don't need to insult each other. Let's get rid of that. Let's respect each other. Have a great game. Now, this is critical for Michigan. Michigan has to win. Michigan State is a dangerous team. They have a great quarterback. They have a maligned coach who's a really good coach, who they need to keep, who's a gentleman and a good guy. And has good values and teaches the right thing to the players and the kids. So we got to play. Let's forget about any demonstrations. Let's forget about any stupid stuff, cheap stuff. Let's play hard. No stupid penalties. Let's win the turnover battle. Let's win the kicking game. Let's have some sustained drives and keep that gifted quarterback off the field.
Well, that's what I was just going to talk to you about, Coach. Big Ten barbershop question of the week. Blade's Big Ten barbershop question. What can Michigan can we be consistent? Are we gonna play well on offense? Is our defensive line gonna show up like last week? Can we dominate and be a great team? Or are we just gonna,
So that is the great challenge of college football.
Yeah.
And really pro football. You have to come up and you have to be ready mentally to be at your best every single week. The preparation needs to be good every single week if you're going to be champion. It's hard to be great. It's hard to be a champion. So do you just want to be good and then drop a few games and then win a few? Maybe win more than you lose. In my opinion, SC put themselves in a bad position. They had to drop Notre Dame. They're in a conference now, or insist that they play them in front of the schedule. And if they won't do that, Notre Dame can't play them in the court. That's dumb for them to play a game of that magnitude in the middle of the season. Fritz Chrysler wouldn't do it. That's why he dropped Notre Dame. He thought the game became so big that it impacted on his conference, his opportunity to win the conference. And in fact, the 80 team I coached, we lost to Notre Dame. We were ahead 41 seconds left. They kicked the field goal, 50-yard field goal, after a controversial interference call that was not interference. And then Harry Oliver came in, kicked a 51-yarder, and we had such a hangover from losing. We felt so bad. We were so downhearted. We came back the next week and lost to a South Carolina team. We were much better than them, even though they had the great George Rogers, the Heisman Trophy winner. So to play a game like that in the middle of a conference schedule is not smart. We have to be now. So what you're asking, are we going to be up and down? Are we going to be consistently good? That is the challenge. That is our challenge. That's the coach's challenge. Sharon's got to get the team mentally right to play at a high level and to play with emotion and passion every single week. Because if you come in down, there's dangerous teams out there. We talked about that. Penn State, they're going to be heard from, man. I'm telling you. UCLA, who's to say they're not going to go in to Blooming? They're not accustomed to success there. They've had success, and I respect them. But if they might look at the they shouldn't show them the New Mexico film where UCLA got crushed, and who knows what could happen there. It's Big Ten football, and that's what makes it wonderful. So Michigan has to go into this game steely-eyed, ready, determined, mentally prepared, ready to give our best effort, understanding there'll be times in that game when we might be behind. Things might not look good, but we're going to persevere. We might lose it, like Bo used to say, we're going to lose it. We might lose it 13 different times during the game, but we will win it 14. And we will prevail at the end because we will not give up, and we will have will, and we will sustain our blocks, and we will get after them and gang tackle, do all the things that are required to succeed. We have a sense of purpose. We have something we want to accomplish. And the biggest thing we need to do is to beat this great interstate rival. And it will not be easy. And we got to be ready. I'm confident. We got to believe and be confident as a team. And I am confident we can win there. But we can't go in there and drop the ball. We can't go in there and make mistakes. We can't go in there and be lackadaisical, because if we do, we shall not win. So we got to go in there and do all the things that are required to win. We have to ability. We talked about Coach McCartney. Ability, he said, ability just gives you a chance. You got to put it all together. So we got to get the lines right. We got to do our assignments. We got to use technique. We got to execute. As Coach Belichick says, very simply, do your job. It's 11 men on the field. Everybody has to do their job for you to be successful, offensively and defensively. And we got to execute there, man. And we got to take advantage of any of their mistakes, enforce mistakes. We got to continue to be. Now, we are plus. Let's look at this. We are plus 1.3 turnover. That is really good. We've intercepted 11 balls. That's outstanding. 6 fumbles we picked up. They are minus 0.5. So they're losing half. They have half a turnover a game. So the difference there is 1.8. It's almost the difference. The differential is two turnovers. If we have 2 turnovers more than them, we'll beat them, and we'll be in good shape. So we got to enter. We got to be great. We got to ball hawk. We got to punch the ball out when we get a chance. One thing Childs has done is they're critical of him because of key situations. They think that he's been careless with the ball. Man, that kid, I'm telling you, he's a gifted talent. He'll be a professional quarterback. He's a gifted talent quarterback. He's a big man with speed, can escape the pocket. He's got a rifle. The guy's got a rifle. And he's got 2 great receivers, Kelly and Marsh. We're the great tight ends. So, we got a challenge. We got a lot going on there, up there in East Lansing. But I'll guarantee you they're going to come together. Those kids are going to come together. You watch.
Well,
And we got to show them. We got to go in there right away and say, hey, we're here to win, and demonstrate to that right away by playing. But we can't go in there, go 3 and out. We got to play power football. But we got to take advantage of what they give us. And we have to break our own tendencies sometimes and throw the ball when we run. We
I was
typically would run.
so
And
that's my
and,
next
uh,
question.
and they're going to do that. Guarantee you, he's going to do that.
Well, that's my next question, Coach. Are the truth serum? Give me your truth on this. I want to know what you think. We're up and down in the red zone. How do we become more efficient? How do we not become so predictable? When, like you said, well, obviously Bredesen's out there running. Or we got this. This is it formation we pass in. What do we have to do? What do we have to
You're
do?
going to get
What
heavy
do we got to do to
defenses in the
convert
red zone.
into the red zone? How do we
So you
convert?
know what happens, and this has to be preparation. We're going to get heavy defenses in the red zone. We're going to get heavy defenses. Okay, so typically they're going to force you, depending on the down and distance. They'll try to force us. I think they'll try to force us to pass. They will want us to get a successful first down play where it's 2nd and 5, and we have the ability to run and pass in fourth down territory. But we have to, he's done a good job throwing the ball. So he's got McCauley. You can throw the ball up to that kid. He'll get it. Marsh is coming on, man. They raved about him. So we got to get the ball, and we got to get the ball out fast, like we did last week when we went down there and we threw that. When he came inside, it was kind of a receiver screen, and he ran up the field for a touchdown. And we got to be creative. And we also have to use our gifted runners and create a crease for them and punch them. And we're not going to score unless we can get positive yards down there inside the 20.
Yeah.
So we can't afford if we get a bad play on first down, that puts us in a difficult position because of our football. But if we're looking at 4 down territory, if we're looking at 4 downs, then we can approach it differently. They're going to I'm telling you, they're not going to, with the situation they are in.
They're going to blitz them. We need to get rid of the ball.
They're going to come after us. Now, I don't know how confident he is of his defensive backs. Our receivers have to beat their defensive backs one-on-one.
I agree.
And the kid's got to throw the ball in there, and we cannot drop it. Shmaz had a 4th and 4. He
Right
dropped the ball.
hands. It was a nice
Can't have
touch.
that.
Touch
He turned
pass.
away. Oh, he did fine. It was a great pass right there. It happens, but it happens. So you're either going to make a mistake, or you're going to be successful. So the guys that are successful a high percentage of the time are the good players and the winners. I'm not picking on him, but we can't drop the ball.
Well,
So we got to get the ball in the hands of our gifted, and we have, brother, if Justice is back, and Jordan's all set, and Bedesen's blocking well, we can run the ball.
Oh,
We can
yeah.
run the ball. And then when we punch him, we can raise up there and throw the ball up to Big McCauley, and then we just can't have any turnovers, particularly in the red zone. And also, our position has got to be to always take points. I think theirs might not be. They might be throwing caution to the wind, and if we're going to upset these guys, we got to get touchdowns to beat them.
Well, I think we also
Our
need to
position has
we need
be
to make
take
plays.
points when we're down.
We need to make plays on the outside with our receivers when we do call pass plays, so we can run the ball. Because if that's all we do, then they can load up on us. So I think you're right, Coach. I think wide receiver deep for their defensive back is going to be huge.
And we got to have some, we got to have some new plays. We got to have wrinkles in there that cause them their defense problems. And also, we got to block. Got to block them. We could not pocket protect. We could not pocket protect against SC. We could not. They sacked us. Now, when we look at sacks, we have a lot more sacks than they do. I got it down here somewhere, and they they have 13 sacks and 35 tackles for losses. We have 17 sacks and 47 tackles for losses, and that's very good. And we had some big ones on 4th down in the last game. So we cannot allow us to be. We can't be sacked in the red zone. We got to get down there and take points. But we got to have some wrinkles. We got to throw some short passes and let the players get some of those kids we have in space and make a guy miss
Well,
and break tackles.
I agree, Coach.
Make plays.
Let's make some plays. Let's wrap it up.
And run the quarterback. Run the quarterback. Quarterback. Remember, if you got man coverage, there's nobody on the quarterback. So run a quarterback draw.
I agree.
Recognize when it's there. run the quarterback. We saw what happened with Mateer. He was so good. Uh, Now they didn't do that. SC doesn't do that as much, but we have a quarterback who can run. So run the quarterback down there because he's unaccounted for
I
on
agree.
defense.
I agree. I think we got
If
to
they
get him.
get if they get 8 men up there, we got to throw, and we got to
Yes.
make the play.
Yep. Well, last but not least, Coach. Obviously we're
That
playing.
said, Robbie, let me say a caveat. When you put 8 men up there and you break the line of scrimmage, you're gone. You're in the end zone because there's no safety back there.
Yeah, you ain't
You know what I
lying.
mean?
Oh yeah, of
So
course.
and Justice can do that, and so can Jordan Marshall, who was truly the player of the game last game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously this weekend we're playing for the Paul Bunyan Trophy, and up in East Lansing. It's going to be a hell of a game, Coach. What do you say? What do you say to your
This is
position
more
group?
than a hell of a game.
What do you say to
This
your?
is one of the great rivalries in football.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
is big.
unbelievable rivalry. Always decides. I mean, for years decides what's going to happen in the Big Ten at the end of the season.
Well, they stand in our way. They stand in our way.
Yep. And
And remember what I said. They have a gifted quarterback. If they can pull out 3 wins, they go to a bowl game.
well, Coach.
That they did not go to a bowl game last year, and that's an accomplishment. That's a step forward. So we gotta. They're down, but they're
Yep.
gonna give us their very best effort, their very best shot, and
Well,
they're gonna have a good plan,
well,
and
you're
we
in the
gotta thwart.
visitors' locker room with your guys, Coach. What do you say? Hey, there's 2 minutes. Special teams are off. We're about to go out to the field. You hear the band fire up. What do you say to your position group? What do you
Here's
say to your
here's what I
team?
used to say to my guys. Now the
Yeah.
old man would say, typically he didn't have to give a fiery speech when we played Michigan State. The atmosphere in Michigan Stadium when we play them, and up in East Lansing when we play them in stadium, is such that your adrenaline is pumping. What I would say to my guys is, all right, say let's get ready, but let's not get so fired up that we get exhausted. When you get fired up before the game, you're exhausted because you use so much adrenaline and stuff like that. So let's keep our energy. Let's keep it. Let's be calm, but let's get these sons of guns. I can't say the word I would say, but let's get these guys. It's a derogatory term I'm not allowed to use, but this is a great challenge for us. And today, let's be Michigan and let's be at our best. Let's be at our very best. So that's what I would say.
That speaks for itself. Obviously, the atmosphere has already got you fired up enough. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes you got to fire up the guys for the games
There's
that
nothing
aren't as
like it.
big.
This is one of the great experiences you'll ever play in. If you're a player on both sides, and everybody knows, everybody remembers. Maybe not the account every single player of the Purdue game. You remember this game.
Yeah.
And if you lose, you really remember it, particularly if you lose in their stadium. And you remember losing in our stadium when they blocked that punt. I still see replays. My friend has that on his phone. Chris Piawasek. I love him. Great, but he plays it for me on his phone. I mean, that block punt when they won in Michigan Stadium right at the end and snatched victory out of the hands of defeat. They truly did. And so, we got to be ready, man. We got to be good. We can't get no block kicks. We got to win turnovers. It's exciting. This is exciting. When you play in this game, it's a great honor and it's a thrill and it's great fun and it's a great competition. Anytime we play our interstate rival in anything, it's great. And so I'll say it again. They're my friends, and then when the game starts, no longer. And then I'll be friends in 4 hours when it's over, no matter what happens. But I love Michigan. I love our kids. I love our team. I love the progress we've made, and I believe in them. I believe in our young coach. I'm behind him. I don't want this stupid criticism of him. I don't like it. Now I know that people get money now, and much is given, much is expected. But I like our team. I like our people, and they got to get this one. And he understands how important this game is in the state of Michigan.
Oh yeah.
It used to, in the legislature, everybody pays it. The whole state's going to be watching. Everybody. And everybody like you have friends and kids we're involved with before that are part of that up there, and then vice versa.
Yep.
So let's go, man. Let's play the game. I can't wait. Remember who the dangerous teams are. And you watch this thing as we go down the way. There will be some tough outings for some of these teams that are on top right now. And if they're not prepared, they will get knocked off. And that doesn't matter to me right now. All that matters is that Michigan has the right mentality going this game, and we execute. And we play hard and we win. We out physical Michigan State because that's what this game is. The tougher team will win.
Well, go blue, coach. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon, and we'll
Okay,
see what
brother.
these dangerous
Go
teams do
blue.
this weekend. Go blue.
Let's be good out there. Let's keep our mouth shut and respect our opponents. But let's play like hell and root like crazy for our team and our kids. And this is wonderful, wonderful time of the year. The air is clear. The leaves are burning. The leaves are changing. It's football, and we're playing for the championship. Every single week we play for the championship now, and we are not out of it. If we can get there, but we got to play great this game against a great. What we have, we're going to have an unbelievable effort from Michigan State, and we're going to have to withstand that by being better and getting better. And I'm confident we can do it. But it's going to be a great game. It's going to be fun.
Let's
All
go.
right, go blue.
Go blue.